Fans were uneasy when Better Call Saul made its 2015 debut. Breaking Bad, its predecessor, was more than simply a great TV show. It was a triumph, a razor-sharp perceptive crime thriller that set new standards for television and started the anti-hero era. Better Call Saul appeared to be unable to compete. 7 years later, not only has the legal thriller established itself as a respectable continuation of this world, many have even said that it surpasses one of the greatest shows to ever make its debut. Tonight, it all came to an end after all the deception, plotting, and frosting from Cinnabon. Fans of Better Call Saul have been anticipating this moment for more than 7 years, the conclusion of Jimmy McGill's transformation into Gene Takavik from Saul Goodman. The last time we saw our hero, Marion, played by the incomparable Carol Burnett, had uncovered the truth behind his lies and was on the run. He's now evading capture as the police launch a manhunt for him, just like Walter White did in the final moments of Breaking Bad. In the meantime, Kim's remorse finally caught up with her, and she sobbed as she rode the bus home after confessing the truth in a manifesto to the district attorney in the area and to Howard's widow. Her contact with Jimmy, however, is next to none. Without further ado, let's finally get into the series finale, written and directed by none other than series co-creator and showrunner Peter Gould himself, appropriately titled Saul Gone. We start our final episode of Better Call Saul with yet another blast to the past, but not so far back. No, just back to season 5, when Jimmy and Mike were trying to wander their way out of the desert. While on a water break, Jimmy suggests to Mike that they take the $7 million and run, but Mike isn't down. They had a hypothetical discussion of what they would do with their halves of the money if they had a time machine. Mike would go back to the first day he took a bribe and move forward. Jimmy would go back to the day Warren Buffett took over Berkshire Hathaway, dump $6 million into the stock, zap back to that time in the future, and be a billionaire or a trillionaire. Mike's smug look of disbelief that he would only think of money told him everything he needed to know about Jimmy's morals. That's it? Mike asks. Money? Jimmy only responds, what else? In the present, Jimmy, now Gene, escapes Marion's house in his car. After reaching his house, he retrieves a disposable cell phone, but is caught off guard by the coterie of police cars out front, forcing him to flee out the back. Jimmy has very little with him, only the flip phone, as well as a shoebox containing lots of money. Jimmy tries to make his way around the city, but is forced to take refuge in a dumpster when it becomes clear the city is swarmed with police searching for him. While in there, he opens his shoebox, which also contains the contact information for his disappearer, and tries to retrieve his phone, presumably to call him. However, the police catch him before he has a chance. Hands up, they yell from the outside. Jimmy is forced to surrender, slowly rising from the dumpster with his hands in the air. Jimmy is now in prison, where he can't help but overhear a herd of officers watching one of his old Saul Goodman videos, looking over at him reproachfully. For his one phone call, Jimmy decides to call the Cinnabon, where he simply arranges the logistics for the following few days' schedule. You're gonna need a new manager, he tells his employee. In his cell, Jimmy realizes his mistake and then, somehow, convinces the police to give him a second call. He calls Bill Oakley, an old associate of Jimmy's from Albuquerque, and tries to convince him to take him on as a client. Bill starts by rebuffing his offer but is clearly drawn in, at least a little. Nonetheless, he is skeptical about how this could play out. Where do you see this ending? Bill asks him, incredulous. With little hesitation, Jimmy replies, with me on top, like always. After hours and hours of negotiations, Jimmy managed to get his sentence reduced to 7 years at the FCI prison in North Carolina, in the D Wing, to be exact. It's a golf resort of a prison. The same one Bernie Madoff served at. He even offered Howard Hanlon's murder to sweeten the deal, but learned that Kim had spilled her guts on the record a month prior. He was salty she had, and quickly took the reduced offer.